is the wreckage left behind after Marietta police say an impaired driver hit two patrol cars on the scene of an accident.
Yeah, Fox 5's Claire Sims spoke to one of the officers who witnessed the weekend crash, and as Claire reports, they want drivers to heed the state's move-over law.
Officers say the move-over law isn't just important to keep them safe, but also the people they're helping on the side of the road.
My first thought was, I hope Salyers is, either in his car or somewhere off to the side where the railing is on the right shoulder.
Marietta police officer P. Washawn says he and two other officers were on the scene of an accident on I-75 just before 2 Saturday morning when he spotted a black truck speeding towards one of the patrol cars stopped in the far right-hand lane.
Didn't see a brake or anything like that, and I told Officer McDonald, I said, man, he's about to hit your car. And sure enough, he hit Officer McDonald's car, the car barreled into Officer Salyers' car, and we start sprinting up scene.
According to Marietta police, Officer Salyers was in his front seat filling out paperwork when the collision happened.
It's scary.
Right after the crash, officers say they found the driver of this black Chevy Silverado slumped over the wheel. First responders revived him with Narcan and transported him to a local hospital.
Once Uniform Patrol uses Narcan, they will notify the assist team, and the assist team attempts to follow up with that individual within 24 hours, and it's a non-enforcement contact. And what the assist team does is they provide resources for this individual.
Marietta police started the assist team back in 2019, and Officer Paul Hill says it's a partnership with Metro Ambulance, the fire department, and a drug treatment facility called the Davis Direction. Officer Washawn says he hopes this will remind people of Georgia's move-over law, which requires drivers to move over one lane for a stopped emergency vehicle whenever possible.
I hope people do realize that, you need to slow down and move over when you can. I mean, you're not only putting ourselves at risk, but you're putting the other drivers, who we're on scene with.
Marietta police say neither the officers nor the drivers they were helping at the time were seriously injured. In Marietta, Claire Sims, Fox 5 News.
As violence continues to be a problem across Metro Atlanta, the city of Marietta says that they're seeing a downward trend.
Police say crime is now the lowest they've ever seen in the city. Fox 5's Brian Hill is live for us right now outside the Marietta Police Department. Brian, why are police seeing this decline?
Well, they tell me it has a lot to do with three things, including community involvement and the use of advanced technology. But some residents we spoke with say there are still some issues that need to be addressed. According to Marietta Police, crimes against persons dropped by 13% between 2016 and 2020. Crimes against property went down 21% in that same time frame.
Certainly no agency, ours included, wants to take credit for the reduction of those numbers. We also don't want to be held accountable if tomorrow those numbers changed and they went back up.
Here is why MPD believes crime is dropping.
It's the implementation of the license plate reader camera technology. It's the implementation of our public safety ambassador program. And most importantly, it's the cooperation we have with the community.
Of course, crime continues to be an issue in some other parts of the metro, including Atlanta, where shootings are up 50% compared to this time last year. MPD says it's difficult to speak on other cities without knowing the demographics and details surrounding their cases, but believe their efforts could be a starting point.
When you can get to that place that you have that trust and that partnership, that's when you're going to see reductions in crime. The police department can't do it alone in any community. They need the community's support.
Years back.
It's very shocking. It was in the middle of the night. Nobody heard anything.
Even though people are pleased with this safer community, they say there's still work to do.
I think a big issue in Marietta is speeding. There's not a whole lot of traffic enforcement right now. And people kind of take advantage of that, probably.
Police tell us speeding, homelessness, and stunt driving are their biggest issues right now throughout the city. Police say only crimes against society, such as drug-related offenses, have increased. Live in Marietta, Brian Hill, Fox 5 News.
Trend nationwide and right here at home. Law enforcement warning about organized retail crime and how you could be accidentally supporting it. CBS 46's Yasmina Alston explains what to look out for.
It's anything inside the store, from home goods to clothing items to cosmetics.
It's called organized retail crime when not just one but several thieves steal multiple items from stores in and out just that fast. This video showing the terrifying trend at a Chicago mall.
They tend to look for product that they can resell very quickly. And then what we've been seeing over the last few years is that that product usually ends up on online marketplaces or social media platforms.
But it's happening here too. Mike Combs is the director of organized retail crime investigations at Atlanta-based Home Depot. He says the company has seen an increase in the trend, as has the nation with the holidays around the corner. They gave us this video showing the many products they've come across with the help of law enforcement, toolkits, lawn equipment, and other items.
We can investigate it with you and hold them accountable.
Marietta police officer Chuck McPhillamy says you don't want to find yourself accidentally supporting the criminals. Ask yourself questions like, why would someone resell a brand new item at a much lower cost rather than just return it? McPhillamy says the thieves use fake accounts and names, making it hard for police to catch them.
Bad actors trying to sell stolen items are probably not going to be as likely to meet you or try to come up with an excuse. That's the time to raise the flag.
And the Buy Safe America Coalition says there's been over $68 billion worth of retail theft per year nationwide. Officials are reminding people if you order items online, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. In Atlanta, Yasmina Alston, CBS 46 News.
Take a look at all of these men, each one of them accused of soliciting children for sex online, and each one of them was arrested during an undercover operation. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Sine Simpson.
Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm Tom Haynes. Police say in some cases it started with a disgusting, unbelievable Craigslist ad. A man seeking sex with, in his words, young girls who wanted to get pregnant.
And over the last 8 months, police have arrested 15 people in this undercover sting. Now, Fox 5's Angelique Proctor broke this story on Fox 5 News at noon, and she joins us now live with the latest. Angelique?
Today, this story has disturbed a whole lot of people, especially parents. Now, Marietta police say not only did these suspects target these young people for sex, but they say they even set up meeting times and even secured transportation to get there.
How big is the problem? Larger than any of us could possibly imagine.
The problem of sexual predators targeting our kids online is frightening. Everyone uses a computer these days to pay bills, go shopping, or just chat with friends. Marietta police want parents to know the cyber world can be dangerous. They arrested 15 people who targeted children for sex online.
Child predators will go online and develop a relationship with that child slowly over time, and then introduce the concept of sex or trading sexual images. The individuals that we have arrested then made arrangements to travel to meet those children with the express purpose of having sex with them, knowing that they were underage.
Police say during their 8-month undercover investigation, the 15 arrested took things a step further and made arrangements to meet the minors for sex at parks, motels, and in some instances, the child's home. Even more disturbing, there is no real profile of who to look out for.
There's men, there's women, they're old, they're young, they're every race, and they're going after children that are both male and female.
The numbers are staggering. The Georgia Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force has made more than 2,000 arrests since its inception. Detectives say it is important for parents to get involved immediately and find out who their children and teens are talking to online.
Parents aren't aware of what their kids are doing while they're sitting right next to them at the dinner table. The issue today is that parents assume if the kids haven't left the house that they're safe, and that's simply not the case.
Now, these 15 suspects may be behind bars, but police say that this problem is so pervasive, they know there are more sexual predators out there, which is why they are asking parents to get involved immediately. Reporting live in Marietta, Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
All right, Angelique, thanks. Police
A group of men forced their way into an apartment in Cobb County. Inside, 2 adults and a 1-year-old child. It happened just after 3 a.m. on Lantern Ridge Drive in Marietta. Cobb County police say 5 men entered the apartment. When two of the residents got home from work, they say one of the men hit one of the victims. They're expected to be okay. The group of men stole cash from the residents before taking off.
Tonight, we are hearing from one of the two men shot during a get-together out in Cobb County. This home on West Chase Drive in Marietta riddled with dozens of bullet holes after what started as a couple's game night. Military veteran Steve Boyd and his wife say they had only been playing board games for less than an hour when someone who wasn't invited tried to crash the party. They asked the man, who they said seemed to be under the influence, to leave, and minutes later, a barrage of bullets started flying.
And bullets was literally going over our head, you know, and they were shooting high and low. I got shot right here in the upper chest, and the bullet came out under my arm. The bullets was coming from everywhere. The kitchen sink, they were coming from both ways, like we were ambushed. Like they wanted us to run out the house so they can mow us down.
They say the gunfire went on for minutes. Boyd says he believes there was more than one shooter because there were different types of bullets. He also believes the shooting was racially motivated and that police are not doing enough to find the shooter. We reached out to Cobb Police to ask if they were investigating the shooting as a hate crime and if they've made any arrests, but so far we have not heard back.
Say they've taken two gang members off the streets. Anthony McEwen and DeMarcus Simmons, both 19, were arrested after police say another man, Antonio Williams, got into a violent fight with McEwen. But when officers arrived at the scene, they say they found a unique gun that they say was connected to some earlier robberies. And during the investigation, police say they also identified McEwen and Simmons as members of the Gangster Disciple. All three men were arrested, and the case remains under investigation.
Marietta, I want you to be on the lookout for Justin Cox. Investigators say the 40-year-old opened fire on Felicia Miller in her own driveway, shooting her several times. She did not survive. Fox 5's Claire Sims is live at the scene tonight. Claire.
Yeah, Doug, family members say that Cox and Miller had 3 children together and they have no idea what drove him to open fire. Now, take a look at this family photo that they shared with us this evening of the 34-year-old mother of 5. According to Marietta police, several neighbors called 911 around 4 o'clock this afternoon after hearing multiple gunshots coming from this cul-de-sac. More people then called to report seeing a man running away from the neighborhood. Family members say Miller was in a car with a friend and they had just pulled into the driveway when Cox started firing into the vehicle, striking Miller multiple times. Paramedics transported Miller to Kennestone Hospital, where she later died. Police say Cox does have a criminal past and he is currently wanted on warrants of homicide, possession of a firearm during a crime, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Miller's family says her loss is indescribable.
You can't describe that, in fact. You can't describe that. There's no words to say that. No words.
She never did nothing to anyone. She was a good mother to her kids. To me, we was family. Strong family. Please, if anyone knows what Justin Cox is, please call, please.
Marietta police say they believe Cox is armed and they are asking anyone who knows where he is to call 911. They say if you encounter him, do not approach him, just call emergency officials. We are live in Marietta. Claire Sims, Fox 5.
Right now, Marietta police are asking you to keep an eye out for a white work van that could be connected to a hit and run. Police say a 54-year-old man has some life-threatening injuries now. He was hit just after 7 Sunday night near the Mexican grocery store La Casa. This happened on Sandtown Road. Police say the van they're looking for might have ladders on the top, but they are asking everyone to spread the word.
It's taking a new approach to fight the opioid epidemic. Marietta first responders are now planning to follow up with the people they saved from those overdoses.
Now, CBS 46's Megan Packer tells us about the program. It is aimed at breaking the cycle of addiction.
Marietta police say they just had to do something different when it came to how they tackle the opioid epidemic. So now with this new initiative, when a first responder revives an overdose patient in the city, that won't be the last time they see each other.
Putting forth all my efforts, just like my family member that's been sober for 8 years.
It's a personal mission for Marietta Police Lieutenant Michael Goines, who is leading the city's new assist team. That's why he will be one of the officers who will show up on drug users' doorsteps within 24 hours of them surviving an overdose.
It's untraditional, But I do know that when I was in charge of the drug unit, when I would lock up some of the drug dealers and they would get out, and they would come to me, the person that locked them up, and ask for help.
Through the new public-private partnership involving Marietta Police and Fire, Metro Ambulance Service, and the Davis Direction Foundation, the ASSIST team will be notified when the drug Narcan is used to save someone from an overdose. Within 24 hours, an officer will show up to talk and offer resources, and they will follow up 2 weeks later.
But we're there with them. We're trying to help you. You know, we're not trying to arrest you at this time. You know, we're trying to get you some help.
This is an epidemic here.
Yvette Williams wears her son's thumbprint close to her heart. Her 21-year-old son, Andrew, died from an overdose almost 3 years ago.
Try to carry him with me. He helps me through. I know he's always around.
Now through her organization, Cobb Realty for Rehab, she raises money to give Narcan to police departments.
I mean, we're losing 200 people a day. 200 a day. That's, you know, by the time we do this interview, 2 people will have gone.
In 2018, Narcan was used 100 times to revive someone in Marietta, and the city had 10 overdose deaths.
And the initiative is up and running right now, so the next person in Marietta to be revived by Narcan will be getting a visit from a team member. Reporting in Marietta, Megan Packer, CBS 46 News.
Megan, thank you.
A 2-month-old infant is safe at home with her mom tonight, thanks to a quick response from a Marietta police officer. The infant's mom called police last week after she found her baby conscious but not breathing and turning blue. Dashcam video shows the moment Officer Nick St. Ange pulled up, jumping out of his cruiser and quickly beginning CPR on the tiny infant. It took 2 whole minutes, but slowly and surely that little girl began to cry and breathe regularly.
I'm doing back blows and I'm doing chest compressions, and I remember hearing that baby just make a sound. Up until that point, there was nothing. I heard that first half cry and I was like, okay, thank God. Here it is, something. I got something. Awesome. Let's just keep on doing what I'm doing, because I know it's got to be doing it. It's got to be doing it right.
An ambulance arrived not long after Ange got the little girl to breathe again. Paramedics took the baby and her mom to the hospital for further treatment as well.
Your surveillance video records someone using a pellet gun to vandalize school buses. The damage was so severe, Marietta City Schools actually had to borrow buses just so kids could get to and from school. CBS 46's Tori Cooper has the story.
We don't recognize the person in the videos.
Marietta City School District is hoping you recognize this person they caught on their surveillance cameras.
We have no idea why someone would choose to do something so senseless.
On Monday night around 9 p.m., district staff says someone found their way past barbed wire fences into their bus barn and vandalized 15 of their school buses using a pellet gun.
They started kind of inspecting the buses and saw that there were holes in the front of the windshields.
15 of their 107 buses were knocked out of commission.
We think it's around $25,000 worth of damages.
The district had to act quickly to ensure nearly 5,000 students would still make it to class on time Tuesday.
We have a great partnership with Cobb County Transportation, so we were able to reach out to them quickly, and they were gracious enough to let us go send drivers over, and I think we picked up 13 buses from there.
With help from Cobb County, Marietta City school bus drivers are still keeping up with student drop-off schedules.
We'll have all but 3 buses repaired by the end of business today.
Now, they just need your help stopping this vandal. Buses are finishing their routes here in Marietta, but if you have any information regarding the person that you saw on camera, make sure that you reach out to the Marietta Police Department as soon as possible. In Marietta, I'm Troy Cooper, CBS 46 News.
out what happened to a woman found dead inside a car. The red sedan discovered yesterday outside the Caswick Trail Apartments. Detectives were moving a dumpster near the car. It'll be processed for potential evidence. A search warrant also obtained for one of the apartments. Any witnesses are being asked to come forward.
The video into the newsroom shows a shocking scene in Marietta. Take a close look. A man running up to the front door of a home and then opened fire. But this was not a one-time occurrence. Police say this has been happening at this home for at least 3 times. CBS 46's Jamie Kennedy spoke to police and neighbors about the frightening details.
Neighbours say they're so thankful the family that lives at the house has not been hurt and that only one house has been targeted. Police say the man first visited the house in the Queensborough Square complex off Manning Road on January 13 at 8 p.m. He then came back at 5 a.m. on January 14, each time shooting at the same house's front door and speeding off. Neighbours and police say the man came back also at 9 a.m. on January 15th, was spotted, sped off, and returned 15 minutes later when this video on your screen was recorded. Neighbours tell me a family lives at the targeted house, including a small child.
We can't explain why. We don't have any motives. The residents of that, or the occupants of that residence, have lived there for a number of years. We need the public's help.
So coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear much more from neighbours and police. In Marietta, Jamie Kennedy, CBS 46 News.
Getting our first look at 3 men accused of kidnapping an officer, sparking a wild police chase in Marietta. Corey Moody, Isaiah Moody, and Walter Gadsden Jr. They're all facing charges. They're accused of fleeing from that traffic stop yesterday. We brought it to you at this hour, that story. The officer trapped inside the car in the front seat. Police were able to catch up with the suspects about a mile later after they crashed into a muddy embankment. Police say the suspects, they're all gang members from Massachusetts.
Well, we stopped the break. Turn left! Get back, get back, get back, get back! I'll wait till the street.
For life, man. It's time for life, man. You know what it is. Good time for life, man.
Based on the severity of the charges, the officers were given permission to pursue. During that pursuit, the driver not only drove at other vehicles, but at one point got in the oncoming lanes of travel on South Cobb Drive, where it's a divided road near Cobb Parkway. So that pursuit lasted a few miles. It ended near the intersection of Fairground Street and South Cobb Drive. The driver of that vehicle, the stolen vehicle, not only swerved towards our officers multiple times attempting to strike them, but ultimately drove into another pedestrian vehicle, swerving over into oncoming traffic and struck that vehicle head-on. Fortunately for everyone involved, when we arrived on scene moments later, both drivers were alert and conscious and were communicating with us. Certainly we regret that that passenger vehicle, that he drove his vehicle, the stolen vehicle, into that passenger vehicle. We're very grateful that everyone was okay and alert, at least at that point. I'm not clear of what injuries that innocent passerby and that vehicle experienced. They were both transported to Kennestone Hospital. I can tell you that later that morning, the suspect in this case was released to our custody and is now in Cobb ADC.
Hotel sends 2 people to the hospital. We first told you about this story on Fox 5 News at noon today. This happened at the Roadway Inn and Suites on Delk Road in Marietta this afternoon. According to police, 2 men got into an argument inside a hotel room, the fight then spilling out into the parking lot, and that's when gunshots were fired. Medics taking both men to the hospital, but they're expected to be okay. Marietta police make a surprising move to deal with drugs. It's a move that troubles some who've been dealing with drug abuse daily.
And tonight we've learned Marietta is withdrawing from the countywide drug task force. News Edge reporter Denise Dillon is in Marietta.
And Denise, the police department has actually been part of this task force for years.
Yeah, for 40 years they've been capturing drug dealers, but Marietta's police chief thinks that there is another approach that they can take to battle the war on drugs.
In the last 3 years, Fulton and Cobb have been the two counties consistently neck and neck that have had the most overdose deaths in the state of Georgia.
Missy Owen, the founder of The Zone, a recovery center in Marietta, knows all too well the drug problem in Cobb is serious.
There's been a rise in meth. Opioids continue to come into our county.
For the past 40 years, MCS, the Marietta Cobb Smyrna Drug Task Force, has been battling the war on drugs. But now the Marietta Police Department is pulling out.
We have tremendous respect for everyone that's involved in that task force. At this time, our chief has decided to withdraw us from that task force to reallocate resources.
Marietta will continue to crack down on drug dealers, but officers could direct addicts to treatment centers instead of locking them up. Chief Dan Flynn says the best way to fight a drug crisis is by using a balanced three-part strategy: prevention, intervention, and interdiction.
Chief Flynn is very concerned about the opioid crisis as well as methamphetamine use here within the city. We're trying to place an emphasis on how do we get that person help to break that addiction.
Owen is all for helping to break the addiction. She thinks about it every time she looks at the wall of photos of those who have died from a drug overdose. A photo of her son, Davis, is on this wall. But she says the battle against drugs is stronger when everyone is working together.
Why would a part of the whole leave? Anytime you have investment from the entire community, you're better as a community.
Tonight after shooting and killing a woman in a Mexican restaurant in Marietta. As CBS 46's Melissa Stern reports, local college campuses were put on lockdown after gunshots rang out.
Police tell me they haven't had an opportunity to notify next of kin, and they say it will be hours before more details come out. But what we do know is that around 2:30 this afternoon, a woman was shot and killed here at this restaurant. Marietta police say they had multiple 911 calls about a man firing a handgun inside the El Ranchero Mexican restaurant on Cobb Parkway South Sunday afternoon.
He did fire the handgun one time inside the restaurant, intentionally striking a female patron. That female patron did not survive.
Police say that man took off running. Nearby colleges, Kennesaw State University's Marietta campus and Life University sent out alerts via social media to students and faculty, asking everyone to shelter in place.
We notified the campus and asked them to please lock it down and notify their teachers and staff and faculty just in case he stayed on their facility.
Marietta police responded in conjunction with several other law enforcement agencies. They located the man about a half a mile away near Barclay Circle and Cobb Parkway.
Within an hour, we had the suspect apprehended.
Police don't believe there's any association to the colleges. The shelter-in-place request was done as a precautionary measure because of how close they are to the restaurant. Police say they believe the man and woman were at the restaurant together, that it wasn't random, but they don't know their relationship at this time. Police say that's all the information they can provide at this time, as they don't want to jeopardize the case. They want the suspect to be held accountable. You can always check our website, cbs46.com, for updates. Reporting in Marietta, I'm Melissa Stern, CBS 46 News.
11 Live Newsroom this morning. We now know at least 2 people have been arrested following a SWAT situation in Marietta. Let's get right to Karis Belger, who's on the scene with the latest developments. Karis, what are investigators telling you?
Yeah, good morning. So the scene is clear right now. Police are still patrolling the area, but from what we understand, a neighbor saw someone crawling into the back of a home on the street through a back window specifically and called the police. We know at some point SWAT was dispatched to the house where there was a bit of a standoff situation for some time. We are waiting to hear about whether or not anyone was terribly injured. We do know 2 people were taken into custody, and we did hear from Marietta Police Department a member earlier. Here's a little bit of what he told us.
They have been arrested. They were not supposed to be on the scene. At this point, they're being taken back to the police headquarters for questioning so we can determine why they were there and if any damage was done, if any theft occurred.
That officer also said that it was a good thing that neighbor did call the police when she noticed something. I did also speak to a woman who told me she owned the home. She did not want to speak on camera. She was still trying to figure out what was going on after the incident earlier, but she did explain that she was not at the home at the time. She's been staying with family, and a neighbor called her to let her know what had been happening, but she said thankfully she was not hurt, and she's also happy that no one else was either. We're still working to get some more information, and once I have those details, I'll keep you updated.
All right, aware neighbors out there helping out. Thanks, Karis. You can stay connected. Marietta police may have saved a lot of lives by seizing these drugs. They also arrested the man who they say was smuggling it.
Police say the accused smuggler did it with a smartphone app that's designed to keep your messages secure from anyone, and that includes the police. CBS 46's Brittany Edney is live in Marietta to tell us how police made this bust after all. Brittany.
Sean and Thomas, police say that Johnson was sending drugs to his P.O. box at this post office and that they caught him when he came here to pick up a shipment. Then Johnson told investigators that it was part of a drug deal he organized with the WhatsApp. Thousands of pills seized, and the suspect admits the drug deal was arranged through WhatsApp. Marietta police say drug deals are going digital.
The old school way of simple hand-to-hand transactions in a dark alley no longer are the norm. What we're looking at now is how people are attempting to use technology to try and stay one step ahead of the law. It's our job to learn those technology loops.
Sergeant Josh Lidke says instead of street corners, people rendezvous on social media platforms and messaging apps.
Like WhatsApp, people will talk on that. People will talk in gaming systems, through PS4s and things of that nature. So any way that people can communicate without the obvious cell phone in their hand.
Exchanges and meetups are more discreet.
They'll meet up in a bathroom somewhere, or they'll meet up in a parking lot. And I've literally seen drugs thrown from one car to the next, where there wasn't that hand-to-hand exchange.
Adding part of staying tech savvy includes continued training, working with other departments and analysts.
Different trends across the country we try to keep up with so that we can stay ahead of what's going on here.
And while criminals might be using smart devices, that doesn't mean they can outsmart law enforcement.
Actually go through those cell phones and computers, and all that information is stored on the hard drive, and we can pull that information and use it for court purposes.
Marietta police estimate the street value for all of those drugs to be anywhere from $130,000 to $150,000, and that's a low estimate, they said. Johnson is currently being held at the Cobb County Jail without bond, and also he faces 5 felony charges for all the drugs. Reporting live in Marietta, Brittany Edney, CBS 46 News.
Cobb County, we're getting a few more details about the arrest of this man, Marietta Officer Martin Duenas. This is his arrest photo from last weekend's incident. Happened in Powder Springs. He's facing a simple battery charge for allegedly hitting a woman in the face during an argument. Duenas is on paid leave while the department investigates his arrest.
And thanks so much for joining us for CBS 46 News at 5 as we take a look at this breaking news in Cobb County. Chopper 46 flying over an officer-involved shooting. And you can see there was a smash-up involving several vehicles there. Police on the scene. You can see they have begun to rope off that area as they are doing their investigation. Again, this is an officer-involved shooting in Cobb County. We don't have a whole lot of information right now, but we are trying to get you some answers, and as we learn more, we'll pass it along. Powder Springs Road between Garrison Road and Sandtown Road shut down because of that shooting.
Yeah, let's get straight over to CBS 46's Helen Devlin. He's live at the breaking news desk.
Yeah, we've been following this all afternoon. Chopper 46 right now flying live there over the scene. I'm going to get you out to these live pictures here. We just heard Rick talking about a little bit about what's going on out there. It does look like several cars have been involved in a wreck, including police officer vehicles is there as well. You can see that crime tape up there blocking that scene. This is near the intersection of Sandtown Road and Powder Springs Street, where police have all lanes blocked off following this officer-involved shooting. And again, yeah, we're getting a pan over here to see the scope of the scene. There's some investigators there standing now, crime tape up as well. As I said, Marietta City Schools saying some bus routes have been impacted by these road closures, and they're working on getting that stuff rerouted. As of now, we have a crew on the way to the scene this minute. As soon as they arrive, we're going to bring you a live look there from the ground. They'll be able to gather some more details and present that to you very shortly. For now, we're live from the breaking news desk. I'm Alan Devlin. Back to you in the studio.
New at 5 tonight, Marietta police ask for the community's help after the arrest of 3 men. Police say 2 are known gang members, and they say that they all have connections to 3 crimes in the metro Atlanta area. Fox 5's Patty Pan has followed the story and joins us now live from Marietta Police Headquarters with more. Patty, we understand that this all started when 2 of the men got into a fight with one another.
It really was a little bit of luck and a lot of good police work. I describe it as a snowball effect. 2 of these guys got into a fight with one another. Then one of those weapons that was used in that fight led authorities to 2 other crimes, and that led authorities to a 3rd case. Now authorities are asking for the public's help. They believe these guys are connected to a lot more cases in this area.
I'm shocked. I'm very surprised. It baffled me.
Yeah, I was surprised there was a stabbing in there right now.
People who live and work near this Circle K on Bells Ferry Road and Williams Drive couldn't be more shocked at news of the crimes happening here. Marietta police tell Fox 5 one 911 call earlier this month resulted in connecting 2 known gang members, DeMarquis Simmons and Anthony McEwen, and a 3rd individual, Antonio Williams, seen here from a 2015 mugshot. Investigators say the 3 are connected to at least 3 crimes in that area. It all started with a shooting and stabbing between McEwen and Williams.
We're trying to prevent gangs from getting a foothold within the city. The truth is they could be in any community across the country. In this particular case, they were on the border of our city attempting to set up shop.
While on the scene, authorities found 2 handguns and noticed the unique appearance of one of the guns, a Taurus blue and black carbon fiber handgun, like the one you see in this picture. With that, they were able to connect the gun to 2 armed robberies several hours earlier outside the same Circle K.
During the course of that investigation, it led to yet again another discovery that one of the individuals now in custody was now in possession of stolen property regarding an entering auto, again from that same general area.
It's terrible that we have this type of crime here that I never knew that existed in Cobb County.
Now, that 3rd individual, Williams, is now recovering and faces aggravated assault with intent to murder charges. Authorities tell us that this investigation is ongoing, and again, they do believe these 3 are connected to other cases in this area, asking for the public's help. That is the latest outside Marietta Police Headquarters. I'm Patty Pan, Fox 5 News.
All right, Patty, thanks for that live report.
4 people arrested in a shooting that killed 2 people in Roswell. One of the models who just started getting into the business is one of the victims here. Police say the shooting stemmed from a robbery involving drugs at a Roswell Point condominium on Lake Point Circle. It happened last week. 23-year-old Elijah Weems was killed. Weems was a Metro Atlanta basketball standout. He'd just done a modeling shoot with Nike. His mom says he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. 19-year-old Latravion Wise was also killed. Police say he was an accomplice of the suspects.
Right now, no one allowed in or out of a Marietta neighborhood as police remove explosives from a home. And what makes this so chilling is that the house on Bayberry Drive is just a few yards away from Hollydale Elementary School.
Man, dad, and another critically injured, but police aren't sure where the victims were actually shot.
Good Day's Mark Teichner has details live from Cobb County. Mark, good morning.
Well, good morning. Really a lot of questions for Marietta police. They obviously don't know who pulled the trigger. They don't know why they pulled the trigger, and they don't even know where that trigger was pulled.
still do not know the location or the jurisdiction of the actual shooting.
A double shooting leaves Marietta police trying to figure out not only who done it, but also where it was done. Around 10:45 last night, officers responded to a shooting call at an Exxon gas station at the Delk Road I-75 exit.
Upon arrival, they did locate a vehicle with a driver and a passenger who were suffering from gunshot wounds. At that point in time, they were transported to Kennestone Hospital in critical condition. The passenger of the vehicle has been pronounced deceased.
Other than telling us the victims were both adult males, police didn't give out any information about them pending notification of next of kin. Hampering the investigation, the fact that detectives have no idea where the men were shot.
As of right now, we really don't know where this took place. We don't know if it even happened in Cobb County, in the city, or possibly down south.
Police have no motive for the crime, but hope a search of the vehicle will help them figure out what led up to the shooting, where it took place, and who pulled the trigger.
Now we'll have to go through the investigation process. We still have got to conduct all the search warrants and everything else we need to conclude evidence.
With so many questions, police are asking for the public's help. If you know anything about this case, you're asked to call Marietta Police right away. Reporting live from Cobb County, I'm Mark Teichner for Good Day Atlanta.
Mark, thank you.
Cars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and computers seized in an illegal gambling raid. 3 people are in jail after what police call a substantial organized crime investigation.
Now, those raids took place at 2 convenience stores in Cobb County and at a home in Douglas County. Fox 5's Denise Dillon is live in Marietta tonight. And Denise, those stores are still open, right?
Yeah, now the owner and 2 employees have been arrested. They're in jail, but it's business as usual here, with one exception. Those who are coming here to play the gaming machines, well, they won't be able to do it. The machines are gone. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in vehicles, $250,000 in cash, a box of jewelry. Police say they seized it all when they raided 2 convenience stores, one in Marietta and one in Cobb, as well as the owner's home in Douglas County.
We hit all 3 locations with search warrants at the same time.
From Skyfox 5, you can see state authorities pulling gaming machines out of this store on Windy Hill Road.
But they're your typical slot machines. A lot of people see them at your local gas stations, and normally when you do these slot machines, you get vouchers. But what they've been doing is just paying people out cash, anywhere from $5 to $5,000.
Inside Gantz Food on Franklin Gateway in Marietta, several gaming machines stood against this wall. Regulars here say they often saw people trying their luck.
Poor community, you know, everybody looking for a come up, you know what I mean? So that's usually what winds up happening is these stores get caught up doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Police say the machines were paying out cash, and that's illegal. The owner of the stores, Kubaib Hussein, and 2 employees were arrested and charged with felony commercial gambling. But within hours, the stores were back open and customers were filing in.
If they're doing something wrong, they're doing something wrong, you know. But I love this store, though.
The raids came after a 2-year investigation, but police are still delving deeper into what's going on behind these doors.
You know, where is this money coming from? Is it coming from all the gambling, or is there something else underneath the surface?
The Marietta police say this is the result of a 2-year investigation, and it's not over yet. Now, there were a lot of people involved in this. Marietta Police, Cobb County Police, Douglas County Sheriffs, the Department of Revenue, the GBI, and more. Coming up at 11, I'll tell you what started it all. Reporting live in Marietta, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
All right, Denise, we'll see you on the edge.
This is new at 6. 2 people, including a 6-year-old boy, fighting for their lives tonight after they were struck in a hit-and-run episode. All this unfolding in Marietta on Friday night, just north of the Kennesaw State campus. We are now told by Marietta police that a 30-year-old man was walking on Chert Road between Roswell and Gresham Roads when he and the 6-year-old boy were struck from behind. Both victims are now listed in critical condition. Marietta police is asking for your help in tracking down the vehicle involved. They are searching for possibly a black or dark blue Toyota Corolla made between 2009 and 2013. They believe it has Tennessee plates. It was also described as having a spoiler on the back and stickers, possibly cartoon related, on the back window. If you have any information
That is tied to this hit and run. You're asked to contact Marietta Police at the number you see right there on your screen.
Arrested 2 teenagers for the murder of another teen. Investigators say the shooting that killed this 17-year-old may have been gang-related. Channel 2's Ross Cavett is live in Marietta with the reason the suspects are charged. Ross.
Well, the parents of these 2 suspects actually helped hook up police with those suspects who are now behind bars. As the days that ticked by in the Marietta neighborhood, the worry increased. Now there is a sense of relief.
If Miles were here, I know he would be knocking at my door asking me, Mom, you gonna cook breakfast? So I'm gonna miss Miles so much. But yes, I'm glad they caught the guys who did it.
Neighbor Stephanie Wilson is relieved that it appears the mystery of what happened to her young neighbor appears solved. Police have charged 2 teens, 16-year-old Harrison Summerhour and 17-year-old Nicholas Palmer, with murder. Warrants say the 16-year-old fired the fatal shot that killed Miles Saunders, both suspects allegedly with ties to a major gang.
I don't know why the shooting took place. I can tell you that there is gang ties to all of this, and that gang charges have been applied towards those 2 suspects who are in custody now.
I don't think Mike was in no gang. I really don't.
Wilson does not believe her 17-year-old neighbor ran with the gangs. She, like others, wonders if it was a gang initiation or planned attack on Saunders. The 2 suspects were not from the area. Police say their parents helped turn them over to police. In the Marietta neighborhood, there is a sense of relief that there are at least some answers.
And I feel so much better since they done caught the guys. I am so happy.
I briefly talked by phone with one of Saunders' family members today. They were attending an event or heading to an event to say their final goodbyes, but were clearly pleased with these developments. The 2 suspects, one is in youth detention, the other is in the Cobb County Jail, both though charged as an adult in this case and both being held without bond. We're live in Marietta. Ross Cavett, Channel 2 Action News.
Cobb County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi there. I'm in the Walmart parking lot at Barrett Parkway, and I just got my nails done, and I see this black gentleman with these 2 little white kids, and so I just had a funny feeling, and so I rode around, and I came back, and I said, I saw the girl get in, and then the little boy, and I said, I drove around, and I said, are these kids okay? Do you know these kids? And he goes, why wouldn't I? And I said, I don't know. It's today's day and age. So I rode around again, and I said, let me see the little girl. He goes, no. And I said, well, let me just see the little girl and just see if she knows you. And you know, so he's in the gas station right now. The number on the plate is CEL 9706. It's a like an electric blue Honda.
Did you want to meet with the police officer?
And it could be nothing, but I'm not sure. And I figured, well, let me call up. He's not getting any gas. Well, all right, he got like in one of those bright green hats on with a green type of shirt. And he's getting gas. But and again, if I didn't do this, I would be up all night.
Okay, did you want to meet with the police officer?
That's what. What?
Did you want to meet with the police officer?
I can't hear you.
Did you want to meet with the police officer?
Well, I'd like somebody to come and look at this guy to make sure that he knows these kids.
Okay, and where are you at?
I'm at the Barrett Parkway Walmart. He's been getting gas.
Okay, which one? There's
Barrett
multiple.
Parkway.
There's multiple. Which one? Is it the one out there at Powder Springs Road?
No, this is Barrett Parkway.
Right, there's multiple Walmarts.
Barrett Parkway.
Yeah, there's multiple Walmarts on that road.
Chastain Meadows, Barrett Parkway.
On 1 year since Georgia passed the hands-free driving law, and meaning that you can't touch your phone while you're operating your car. You can't be driving and then grab for your phone. You can get in trouble. Today, Marietta and Cobb County Police were trying to remind people about the importance of that law by writing a few tickets, because it turns out less and less people are driving hands-free.
The reality is the law, when it started, was very effective at getting people to change their behavior. Over the course of the last year, we've seen an increase in people using their phones again. It's a behavior. It's a learned behavior.
In just over 2 hours today, the department wrote 141 citations for a $50 fine for the first offense, and from there it just escalates on and on and on.
Police say they now have a man in custody connected to several shootings at a family's front door earlier this month. We told you about the police request for the public's help here earlier last week, and they say your leads helped them track down the suspect who was taken into custody this morning. We know he's facing several aggravated assault and weapons charges related to 3 different incidents.
Officer Chuck McPhillamy, C-H-U-C-K, McPhillamy, M-C-P-H-I-L-A-M-Y, Public Information Officer, Marietta Police Department.
All right, if you could tell us, what time did you get this call?
I would have to look that up. I apologize. I'll have that in the press release. I don't know that timing. I was actually in a meeting when the call happened.
So what seemed to have happened?
The original reports that I've heard at this point have been clarified. The original report was of an attempted robbery. What I'm being told now is that an individual who lives in this area just a block or so away from where we're standing walked outside, started his vehicle, returned inside his residence, and when he came back out, there was a suspect now in his vehicle attempting to leave. Initial reports, again unconfirmed, but initial reports are that the victim jumped in the bed of his own truck as it was moving, broke out a window, and took his truck back over. Suspect at that point produced a knife in order to try and flee the scene. As the suspect is fleeing, the victim is now calling 911, reporting the incident. Sheriff's deputies, Cobb County Sheriff's Office deputies, were in the area and observed a suspect matching the description at the house you see diagonally behind me. At that time, we joined forces between Marietta Police, Cobb County Police Department, and Cobb County Sheriff's Office. A quick rescue was completed, getting the residents of that home out. It was not the suspect's home. I'm told that there was a woman and children present in the home that he may or may not have known. It appeared that he was able to talk his way into the door somehow. I'm not sure what the circumstances were there. Once the woman and children were removed from the home, we surrounded the house and brought in our own SWAT team to try and bring this to what was finally a peaceful end, where he was taken into custody without incident. Some people would ask why we brought in the SWAT team or why there was such a large response to this. The goal for any of us at the end of the day is for all of us to go home safely, including the suspect. So to that end, while it may seem like a large response, I would say it was the perfect response, because at that time, we didn't know whether he had a knife or a gun. We didn't know what all was involved, and we were trying to make sure that everyone got home safe.
So SWAT negotiators successfully talked him out of the house?
Correct.
And I thought I heard him yelling, "I love you." What, is there any...
I know that at one time he was trying to have family members here. I don't know if that actually took place or not. I don't know if that was him reaching out to you on camera, hoping to get that message to his own family. I'm not sure.
So at this point, what might the charge be?
Well, it would be attempted robbery. I don't know if it would be armed robbery, because I don't know whether that knife was actually used in the commission of the crime. Evading, I'm not sure. Obstruction, I'm not sure what else.
Attempted car theft?
Certainly, yes. From what I've been told so far. So we'll be obtaining a warrant, and then I'll be doing a full press release with all of the details of his information as well as the charges.
Was the owner of the car injured? Tell me more about how he broke that.
I don't know the answer to that yet. We did have Metro Ambulance staged, thinking that that owner, that victim, would need some sort of medical attention. He declined medical and said that he was fine.
What kind of car are we talking about?
I was told it was a pickup truck, but I haven't actually seen it.
May we see it to see the window?
I can see if I can make that accommodation. I don't know the answer to that yet, but I'll ask.
Do you know where that occurred?
I'm told it was roughly a block away from here, but I don't know the address yet.
Is it going to be on Spring Hollow?
I simply don't know the answer to that yet, but I will try and get you that answer.
A murder mystery in Marietta. 24 hours after the body of a 44-year-old Jacksonville woman was discovered inside her home, neighbors there are on edge, and the killer has not been captured yet. Tonight, a murder investigation is underway on Doris Lane. That's near the intersection of Commonwealth Avenue and Jones Road.
Police first discovered the woman's body yesterday. Neighbors say she was a loving mother. News 4 Jax reporter Eric Avignon is live in the neighborhood with new information about the victim and what neighbors say they saw before the woman's body was found. Eric.
Yes, although authorities have not identified the victim, several neighbors and even the victim's friend have identified her as 44-year-old Velvet Burns. How she died and events leading up to her death are yet to be revealed at this point, but neighbors are telling us that a suspicious dark-colored SUV was seen driving back and forth through here past her home, and then hours later, she was found dead inside. For a second day in a row, investigators were seen going in and out of a home where the body of a woman was discovered. Close neighbors who say they have known the woman for many years have identified her as 44-year-old Velvet Burns, a wife and mother. How and why she was murdered has left some neighbors who asked not to be identified baffled and on edge.
What had happened, who did it, like, what's going on? Like, you got people with kids around this neighborhood, and it's scary.
I was very upset because I knew something serious had happened, and I've been upset ever since.
Off camera, neighbors say a suspicious dark-colored SUV drove past the house 2 days in a row. They say early Thursday morning was the second time it drove by. They also tell News4Jax the headlights were turned off. Hours later, the homeowner was found dead inside her home. Rachel Fuller says she's known Velvet Burns since 1978. She visited the crime scene after learning her friend was found murdered.
I don't know if words could express what Velvet was. Very loving mother, very into her children's lives.
A neighbor who says she's known Velvet since the 90s says Velvet would often come over and help her with her husband who was battling medical issues.
She was a super person. I mean, I loved her dearly. I mean, she helped me so much with my husband and everything. I mean, she was just super.
Up until around 8:50 tonight, this entire area was still considered a crime scene. Right after crime scene technicians and detectives left, we did notice multiple family members exiting out of the house, getting into their vehicles, and driving off in that direction. Reporting live, Eric Avignon, Channel 4, the local station.